Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is one of the most sketchy rides I've been on in a while, and a great demonstration why we can't have nice things.
I took it really slowly.
We're talking very steep trails, slippery corners,
Whoa!
and chaos. So strap in, because this one's gonna get rough. Today, me and Jim are in Shropshire to ride a place called Long Mynd, a set of trails known for being steep and interesting. Luckily for us, the weather today is amazing, but it had been raining solidly for the last month, so the trails are a bit sloppy. Long Mynd is a popular riding destination and has loads of natural downhill trails throughout the forest, and a steep fire road climb to the top. We decided to introduce ourselves to the Long Mynd trails by riding a couple of the lower sections first, and then hitting two of the longer trails from the very top. So, let's go. Dropping in, we realised that today's conditions are really deceptive. What looks like a nice loamy dry surface is actually a slick and slippery mudfest covered with a thin layer of dry pine needles, not the most grippy of surfaces.
Ooh, he goes high line.
And as you'll come to see, today's ride is also a great lesson on why you should properly maintain your brakes. And I learned the hard way that having a bike that's in good working order is always a great idea when you're out riding steep trails. This first section taught us that these trails are really involved and have plenty of technical elements. I can already tell that today's going to be a good one. Ready for more, we dropped into the next section. This doesn't look like much on camera, but it's steep. And it was on this section that I realised my brakes aren't working. This resulted in me giggling like a schoolgirl and pathetically sliding into a tree.
I think I've got a bit offline here.
What a muppet.
So that was fun. Oh. Let's try that again. So on camera it's not going to look steep or rooty. Just trust me when I say it is.
Just lately, whenever I get on my bike, I'm reminded of some sort of maintenance that I need to do. This is not a good feeling, and it's pretty lazy on my part. You really shouldn't take things like your brakes for granted. But that didn't stop us today. The next trail was another steep one, but this one had way more trees to navigate. This being my first time down these trails, I had no idea what to expect. So picking a line down here can be an interesting exercise in trial and error.
Oh, no dabs, no dabs.
When you're riding slippery natural trails under trees, that of course means roots. These are a great natural feature and they always make trails a bit more challenging. I don't know quite what I was expecting when I arrived here today, but the riding here is way better than I was picturing. Despite these trails being so steep, this is certainly a slower, more technical trail, and one I'll definitely be coming back to ride again soon. With some shorter trails out of the way, we decided to hit the longer trails and ride right from the top to the bottom. From the top of the hill, the entrance to two of the longest sections starts with a flat open part before getting into the good stuff. Today, of course, it was full of deep puddles, which made it a bit awkward and hard to carry any sort of speed on for a long period of time. But with the drier weather on its way, this section will be dreamy flow trail in no time, and well worth the climb to get to it. Towards the end, we came to a fork in the road.
Hello.
We took the executive decision to try the left fork first. The upper section is slightly less technical and more flowing than the steeper sections we'd warmed up on. With the way I'm riding today, this was really refreshing. Riding through the woods was pretty awesome, but of course this trail still had its sketchy sections.
Whoa! That's sloppy, isn't it?
Towards the end of the trail it gets a bit steeper, and this is where the fun begins. At this point you can see Jim roll down onto the fire road and stack it onto the path. Of course, I laughed at this, but my celebration was way too soon, because the transition out of the woods was way more slippery than it looked, and I landed right next to Jim. So here we are, a couple of idiots laying on the ground. Carrying on, the next section was steep and even muddier, and with my sketchy brakes, this was really awkward. This ride had turned into an absolute free-for-all.
Oh, that's a sloppy left.
It was like mountain bike twister at this point. We found ourselves slipping and sliding down this section, but I was slowly getting the hang of it. I was taking my time navigating this awkward muddy corner, but Jim had other ideas.
Sorry, where are we going here?
Our tyres were so clogged up with mud at this point that stopping on the steep stuff was almost impossible. The last 30 metres of this were even steeper. I was hanging off the back of my bike just to try and make it down without any more excitement. So that trail didn't really showcase our finest riding skills. But we couldn't leave it there for the day, and we needed to redeem ourselves with one last trail. For the last trail of the day, we rode back up to the top of the hill, and we headed back along the muddy top section. But this time we decided to ride the right-hand fork. This is another long multi-stage route. It's a winding adventure trail which promises some close quarters riding, some steep trails, and some rocky steps. How could we say no? This top part is a pretty gentle blast through the trees. With the sloppery ground and recently fallen needles, staying on the right line was a bit of a challenge. But there's nothing too tricky about this section. It eases you into the descent. This next part is my kind of jam. Steeper, faster, and in some really tight trees. This is like some sort of awesome slalom section. You have to be quick on the bike to get through it, but it's super fun.
Oh, this is good.
Once you've made your way past these tight trees, the trail opens out slightly. This means you can let your bike flow a bit more, but you still have some muddy berms and steep ruts to navigate. But I was having other problems.
So my back brake has pretty much stopped working.
As it turns out, I've worn my brake pad down to the metal, and that's why my bike's not stopping properly. Who knew that not having a brake pad in your back caliper would cause so many issues? But it didn't stop me riding the rock roll to finish.
No worries.
With one last section to go, we were not out of the woods yet, literally and figuratively. This last section starts off fast and flowing through this little green lightly wooded section, before it then heads into some steep rocks. With only a partial working front brake, I was riding on borrowed time. We'd already spent enough time on the ground this ride, and I'd like to make it down this one without any hiccups. Everything was going well, and only the steep rock section to go. Awesome! More importantly, I'm still in one piece, and I haven't crashed. What an achievement! Ah, damn it.
Hope you got that.
Well, I'd almost made it down in one piece. So today's ride is a lesson in how not to go mountain biking. But we did have an awesome time, and that's what really counts. So I'm off to get my brakes sorted. Thanks for watching, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.